Hello and welcome to another episode on the Live Signatures Radio. Thank you so very much, everyone who is tuning in from whatever place it is in this entire world. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. It's a daily show, Live Signatures Radio, where we talk about purpose, productivity, and resilience every working day. We are talking of the recent past about despair. It's been quite a bit of a series that we've been on since about 12 or so episodes back, and we're still continuing. And right now, at this moment, we're discussing the 5 things that despair kills in your life. And we're doing that because it is important for us to notice what is behind the thing. The thing behind the thing is the thing. And I'm going to explain that even as we keep going, and I do a recap for it. Today, let's look at one more thing. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Life Signatures podcast with Lawrence Namale. Lawrence is a life coach, author, and keynote speaker who loves to tackle different topics on purpose, productivity, and resilience. His mission in life is to awaken all your boundless possibilities available in you. Life Signatures podcast is dedicated to bring to reality every single person who knows that deep down in their gut, there's got to be more to life than this. And now, here is your host, Lawrence Namale.
So we've said again and repeatedly, okay, that's repeating again and repeatedly. Anyway, we've said that when you face trouble, or when you face a setback, when you face despair, sometimes you easily treat despair at face value. But you need to examine what is behind the despair. What is behind the trouble you're facing? Do you know what is behind the trouble you're facing? If you want to know what's behind the trouble you're facing, you wait until the trouble has matured, run its course, and you look back and you see, what have I lost? What has been diminished? What has been taken away from me? Those are the things that we're discussing in this episode. There could be more. I'm just focusing on 5. The first one we said, it is your dreams. I'm telling you, it's an asset to be a dreamer. To have dreams, to have vision, it's more of an asset than to have physical, tangible money. We know this because of the saying that the fool and his money are soon parted. A fool is basically somebody without a vision. Oh, let me shut up. So the dreams and visions are the first things that are taken away from you once despair runs its course in your life. And once the dreams and visions are taken away from you, dreams, visions, goals, objectives are taken away from you, you don't have anything to live. I mean, you don't look forward to live. Have you noticed that for the most part, the people who commit suicide do that because of despair? We read a sad story of a child in Uganda 2 years back or so, who just before COVID, or maybe during COVID, I don't know, just before COVID, I should say, or just immediately after COVID, the results came. Primary school leaving certificate examinations were out, and what happened? The child had not passed to the expectation of the parents, and the parents were so totally distraught and disappointed with the child, and they told the child as much. Now, I believe this child entered a state of despair, so much so that they thought there was nothing to live for. So no vision, no dream, no nothing. And what happened? That lady took her life. She died. This is what despair does. When it removes your dreams and vision and objectives and goals, ultimately you can end up dying. The second thing we talked about is momentum. Despair comes to kill your momentum, and this is very powerful. I don't want to repeat myself, but it's very powerful. I'm tempted to do it again, but I'm not going to do that. So you can go back 2 or so episodes and listen to that. Then the third thing is your confidence. This again, yesterday, that's what we talked about. It's absolutely critical that you and I have confidence. And I said in the episode yesterday, I remember it very vividly, that there is no human being who doesn't have confidence at birth. We are all born 100% perfectly with confidence. Doesn't matter even the state in which we are in. We could be disabled. I don't know about that, but could be born disabled, but the confidence is in us. That's one thing that God has never taken away from the human. At birth, 100%, everyone is born with confidence. But then at the wake of despair, after despair has run its course, and the problem with despair is that it doesn't come once, it keeps coming. And it keeps sweeping away confidence, keeps taking away confidence over and over again. So you need to be very careful. So listen to yesterday's episode and see what you can be able to learn. Today, the fourth thing that I want to talk about is your fortification. Your fortification. In the olden days, people used to build cities on a hill and then they fortify the city with a wall. Let me just explain that for a minute. Let me just go on a tangent for a minute. Despair might cause you to throw all caution to the wind and just to go, just let go. Just let go of who you are. Just let go of your essence. Now your essence, who you really are, that is your fortification. If someone is toppled off of their game a little, they are not themselves anymore. They are unstable. They become unstable. You become unstable. You become unrecognized. And every time you become unstable and unrecognized, even to yourself, you cannot be productive anymore. So this is how it happens. Every time we face despair, it is an uncomfortable feeling. Of course it is. And our brains always talked about this. Our brains will always instruct us to find a better feeling. Always. And we find better feelings when we engage our body, our flesh. And guess what? We starve our minds, our spirits, and our essence. And we do mindless activities such as binge watching. You sit there and you do absolutely nothing. That is your brain instructing you to do that activity so that you can stem off the uncomfortable feeling of despair. Just examine your life for a minute. Isn't that what normally happens? A bad thing comes, maybe you lost a job or you lost a relationship. What do you normally do? You indulge. Okay, I know sometimes we withdraw, we have this self-pity, but to feel better, some people go on an eating spree. They just eat and eat and eat. Some just go on binge watching. Some don't do any work. They don't involve themselves in anything productive. Because despair has to be massaged. That's what we're doing at this moment. And when we do that, our very essence, which is our fortification, our tower of strength, our tower of who we really are, is being eroded slowly by slowly. Because we are seeking to massage that despair. I know that there is some semblance of respite when we distract ourselves from the despair itself. But for the most part, it goes to feed the flesh, the body, the comforts. The danger is that you can easily get addicted to these things, and breaking that cycle becomes a tough thing to do. So someone who was fortified before the despair came is now someone who is an addict by the time despair has finished its course. Their city wall, that was their essence of protection, is laid bare. This is absolutely mind-boggling. It's the science that keeps on repeating itself over and over again in people's lives as despair comes in waves and waves. Therefore, you've got to be very careful how you handle despair. You've got to be absolutely careful. It is okay to do some of these things. It's okay to eat, okay? It's okay to distract yourself and watch something and so on, so that at least you get some comfort, but don't stay there. Those guys who have suffered incredible pain. My friend Betty Ujiel went through a life-threatening accident, and she tells me, in fact, she tells us in her story, the book is called Against All Odds. She says that at some point in time, the doctors, the medics, refused to give her morphine, which was a drug that will alleviate the pain. Why? Because they knew she can easily get addicted to it and it will be trouble. And that's what we do. We do not want to suffer the pain. We want to fortify, we want to comfort ourselves, and in our comfort, our fortifications are dealt with. The danger is that you can easily get addicted, and breaking that addiction is a problem. And perhaps a good percentage of people who get addicted to drugs and all these vices, they did so because despair was the cause. Despair was the root cause. Don't just look at people and start blaming them for using. Just blaming them for being addicted. Go to the root cause. There was despair somewhere that led them to that particular situation. Nothing makes you angry of yourself than losing ground on your own essence. And you are the one who orchestrated that by yourself. And the problem is that though it is tough to handle in your mind, it is so tough to handle, it is always going to be overlooked by your brain in favor of something and something that gives you comfort and feeds your body. The cycle of addiction is now being fueled by your personal anger, your personal involvement. It is a vicious and dangerous cycle. So if you are facing despair, I am asking you, check your fortification. What are you feeding yourself on? What are you protecting yourself with? How are you handling the despair? Don't get addicted to substances because of this. Don't get addicted to food. Don't get addicted to not working, not being productive. Watch. Stand alert. Guard your fortification with all the things that you have. Tomorrow we'll bring this mini-series to a close, but until then, bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Life Signatures Radio. If you enjoyed today's show, subscribe to Life Signatures Radio on iTunes, Stitcher, or visit our website at lifesignatures.libsyn.com. Life Signatures Radio, fresh, clean, and inspiring.